Lana Mercer was a graphic designer for a small independent publishing company. At 29 years old, she lived alone, had no children, and spent nearly every waking hour working. Her co-workers joked that she loved deadlines more than people. The truth wasn't far from reality. Most nights, after everyone else had gone home, Lana remained in the office long after dark, chasing perfection. Her latest project was the cover design for an upcoming horror novel called The Entities That Follow. The book told stories of shadow-like beings that watched their victims from the edges of room reflections and dreams. Lana became obsessed with one idea: eyes, hundreds of them. She wanted the cover to feel alive. She spent days sketching and redesigning countless versions until she created something that unsettled even her. No matter where someone stood, the eyes seemed to stare directly at them. When she presented the concept to the publisher, they loved it. Encouraged by the reaction, Lana suggested something unusual. She wanted to hide illustrations of the same eyes throughout the book's pages. Not enough for readers to notice immediately, just enough to make them feel watched during the most terrifying chapters. The publisher approved the idea. A week later, Lana stayed late to finish the final design. The office was empty. Rows of dark cubicles stretched through the building like silent hallways. Her boss had already left. "Lock up when you're done," he had said. Around midnight, as Lana adjusted the final page layout, she heard a knock. 3 slow taps. Knock, knock, knock. She looked up. The sound had come from somewhere down the hallway. Lana stood and walked toward the office entrance. No one was there. She checked the glass doors. Locked. Outside, the parking lot sat empty beneath a flickering streetlight. As she turned away, the knocking came again, this time from deeper inside the building. Knock, knock, knock. The sound seemed to travel through the walls. "Old pipes," she muttered. She returned to work. Minutes passed. Then another feeling crept over her. The unmistakable sensation that someone was standing behind her, watching. Lana spun around. Nothing. Just empty cubicles and darkness. She laughed nervously. "Too much time with my creepy drawings." She saved the final file and finished the project. The next morning, the book went to print. That was when everything began. At first, the changes were small. Lana would glance at her coffee mug and swear something inside the reflection was staring back. Mirrors felt wrong. Not broken, not distorted, just wrong. The reflection always seemed to react a split second too late, as though it wasn't truly her. At night, she often woke suddenly, convinced someone was standing beside her bed. She never found anyone there, but the feeling remained, watching, waiting, following. Weeks later, The Entities That Follow became a bestseller. Readers flooded online forums with strange stories. Many claimed the hidden eyes seemed to move. Others reported feeling watched while reading. Some swore the illustrations appeared in places where they hadn't been before. Most dismissed the rumors as marketing. Lana tried to do the same, but by then she was seeing eyes everywhere, in windows, in puddles, in dark television screens. Every reflection felt alive. One evening, she looked into her bathroom mirror and saw her reflection smiling. She wasn't smiling. The reflection continued to grin for several seconds before matching her expression. That night, Lana didn't sleep. The following morning, she returned to work. Co-workers said she looked exhausted, terrified. Several asked if she was feeling okay. She insisted she was fine. That evening, she stayed late again. Just like always. It was the last time anyone ever saw her. The next morning, employees arrived to find the office empty. Lana's computer remained powered on. Her coffee sat untouched beside the keyboard. The front doors were still locked from the inside. There were no signs of a struggle, no evidence she had ever left. Only one thing remained on her desk, a copy of The Entities That Follow. It lay open to a page near the center of the book, a page covered in dozens of black eyes. The detectives assigned to her disappearance later reported feeling uncomfortable while examining the scene. One officer claimed the illustration seemed to move whenever he looked away. Another refused to touch the book. The case was never solved. The book remains in evidence storage to this day. Employees who work in the building say that if you're alone late at night, you can sometimes hear 3 slow knocks echoing through the walls. And if you look closely enough at the eyes in the book, you may notice one more pair than there used to be. When I was 7 years old, I thought the laundry chute in our hallway was magic. My dad traveled a lot for work, and my mom worked from home, so most days it was just me finding ways to entertain myself. One day, I watched my mom throw a pair of socks into the little door in the upstairs closet. The socks disappeared. I thought it was the coolest thing ever. After that, I started throwing toys down there whenever my mom wasn't looking. Action figures, toy cars, stuffed animals, anything I could fit through the opening. And after a while, something strange started happening. Whenever I dropped a toy down the chute, I could hear it talking from the basement. At first, I thought I was imagining it. Then one day, I dropped my Spider-Man figure down. A few seconds later, I heard a tiny voice echoing up the metal tunnel. "Hunter, can you hear me?" I froze. "This is Spider-Man! We need another superhero down here!" I remember smiling so hard my cheeks hurt. I spent hours talking to him through the chute. Sometimes I threw Green Goblin down there too. The second he landed, I'd hear him laughing. Being a hero is boring, Hunter. Villains have more fun. Then Spider-Man would yell something back. The two of them would argue and crash into things. I could hear giant battles happening far below me. Booms, crashes, tiny screams. I loved it. Every day after school, I'd run to the closet and talk to my toys. Then one afternoon, Spider-Man asked me something strange. "Hunter, why don't you come down here and play with us?" I laughed. "I'm not allowed in the basement." There was a long silence. Then Green Goblin spoke. "Now Hunter heroes have a duty to protect. I might just have to set a bomb in the laundry." No, I screamed, "My mom goes down there. She might get her." Wait, I thought for a moment, you guys are just in my imagination, you can't hurt my mama. I quickly dismissed the request, but over the next few days, they kept asking, "Come down, Hunter. We'll have more fun. It's better down here." Every time I said no. Then one evening I dropped my favorite toy truck into the chute. Clang, 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 it bounced all the way down. A moment later, I heard its little voice. "Hunter." I giggled. "Yeah? If you won't come down here." The voice paused. "We'll come up," he frowned. "How?" The truck didn't answer. For a few seconds, everything was silent. Then he heard something moving, slowly, scraping against the metal walls. Closer, closer, closer. I leaned over the opening, and suddenly my toy truck appeared. Its wheels were turning, its headlights blinked. It was driving up the chute by itself. Beep, beep, beep. The tiny truck reached the top. For a moment it sat there, staring at me. Then it rolled forward and dropped onto the closet floor. I I screamed. I ran straight to my room. I ran and hid under my blanket, leaving my door open. My heart felt like it was going to explode. Maybe Mom was playing a trick on me. Maybe there was a string attached. Maybe beep. I froze. Beep, the sound came from the floor next to my bed. Slowly, I lowered the blanket. My toy truck was sitting there. Its headlights blinked. Beep, beep, beep. I jumped out of bed, grabbed it, and ran back toward the closet. I didn't want it in my room anymore. I yanked open the chute door. I raised the truck to throw it back down. Then I heard scratching, coming from inside. Slowly, something climbed upward through the darkness. At first, I thought it was a giant dog. Then I realized it wasn't. Its body was covered in thick fur. Its arms bent the wrong way, and where its face should have been, there were 5 faces. 5 mouths, 5 noses, 5 pairs of eyes, all stitched together across its head, children's faces. The creature stopped halfway up the chute. Every set of eyes looked directly at me. Every mouth smiled, and from deep inside the darkness below, I heard my toys speaking at once. "Hunter, come play. We've been waiting." The creature opened its mouths wider and started crawling the rest of the way up. Hazel loved being alone. At 32 years old, she had built a successful career writing children's novels from the comfort of her apartment. Her home was warm, cozy, and filled with books. Every candle was carefully chosen. Every blanket had its place. It was her sanctuary. The only thing she disliked about her success was being recognized in public. Readers often approached her while shopping or grabbing coffee. Most were kind, but the attention made her nervous. Hazel preferred stories to people. One afternoon, she sat at her desk, working on her newest novel. The story followed a young boy who became lost in a grocery store and discovered a magical world hidden between the aisles. As she typed, completely immersed in her imagination, a notification appeared on her screen. Unknown sender. I love how you look when you're creating worlds. Hazel frowned. Strange. Probably a fan. She ignored it and continued writing. A second message appeared moments later. "I know you saw my message. It's okay to be shy. I just want you to know you're very important to me. I plan to always be there for you." The wording unsettled her. She blocked the account and returned to work. The messages didn't stop. Over the next few weeks, new accounts appeared. Every day brought another message. Sometimes they were harmless. Sometimes they felt personal. Too personal. Then one Thursday evening, she ordered food from her favorite Thai restaurant. Minutes later, a message appeared. The usual order, good choice. Hazel froze. Another message followed. "I had the pleasure of delivering to you once. It was nice finally seeing your smile in person." Her stomach dropped. She had never met the sender. How did he know that? For the first time, Hazel considered the possibility that someone wasn't just watching her online. Someone was watching her. She canceled the order immediately. Tomorrow she would contact the police. Tomorrow she would have her phone examined. Tomorrow she would figure this out. Then another message appeared, this time on her phone. It was from DoorDash with a picture of her food at her front door. She slowly crept to her front door and looked out her peephole. Nobody was outside, just the food. She barely opened the door fast to quickly grab the food and lock the door. She had canceled the order, so why had they still delivered her food? Maybe she canceled too late. She looked inside her bag to find her Thai food, as well as a package wrapped up in brown paper. Wrapping, she opened the package. It was the first edition of the first book she ever written, signed by her. There was a note on the book that read, "I've been there since the beginning." She threw the book down hard and quickly called management. "Can you make sure security watches my apartment tonight? I think I have a stalker." Management insisted she called the police, but she refused. She had enough excitement for the night. She just wanted to sleep and explain all this in the morning. She was feeling exhausted by the day's events. She threw the food away. She felt a little more at ease because one of the security guards in the building volunteered to keep lookout by her door. She made herself a hot tea before bed, her usual, and decided she wasn't hungry. That night, she locked every door and climbed into bed. The apartment felt different. The air seemed as it was holding its breath. Then she heard it, a noise from inside her closet. Hazel sat upright. She had heard strange sounds before recently, small noises, things slightly out of place. She had dismissed them all. Now she wasn't so sure. Slowly, she left her bedroom and walked toward the kitchen. She grabbed the largest knife she owned. Her hands trembled. As she turned back toward the hallway, dizziness suddenly washed over her. The room tilted, her vision blurred. She stumbled. A large figure stepped from the darkness. A man, tall, broad shoulders, green eyes. A finger pressed gently against his lips. Shh. Everything went black. When Hazel opened her eyes, she was tied to a large recliner. A strip of tape covered her mouth. The room around her looked strangely comfortable. Bookshelves, soft lighting, a writing desk, an old typewriter, no windows, one stone door. The man sat across from her, patiently watching. When he noticed she was awake, he smiled. "Good," he said softly. "Now I can explain." The explanation lasted for hours. He told her he had first discovered her books when his 8-year-old son took a huge interest in her books, becoming his favorite author. He died from a severe asthma attack. The grief had hollowed him out. He couldn't sleep, couldn't think, couldn't imagine a future without his child. One night, he picked up one of Hazel's stories and read it simply to distract himself. Then he read another, and another. Her worlds became the only place where the pain felt bearable. Her characters brought him comfort when nothing else could. At first, he admired her books. Then he admired her. Then he became obsessed. He learned her routines, her favorite restaurants, her schedules, her habits. He knew everything. He insisted he loved her. He promised he would never hurt her. He claimed he only wanted her to be happy, only wanted to protect her, only wanted them to be together. Hazel screamed, fought, begged, threatened. Nothing changed. Days became weeks. Weeks became months. Months became years. The room remained comfortable. The meals arrived on time. New books appeared whenever she finished reading. Fresh paper waited whenever she wanted to write. Even the smell of the cozy room matched her home perfectly. The comfort of seclusion was provided. Everything she needed was provided. Everything except freedom. At first she counted the days. Then she counted the weeks. Then she stopped counting altogether. Eventually she found herself waiting for his visits, listening to his stories, laughing at his jokes, creating a fantasy world with the two of them in it, going on their own little adventures together through her stories, depending on him. The realization terrified her more than anything else. One evening, she sat at her desk, staring at a manuscript she couldn't remember starting. The title read, "Always There for You." It was the story of a lonely woman rescued from a frightening world by a man who loved her completely. They had a son together and lived in that giant room closed off from the world. Hazel frowned. Something about it felt wrong, very wrong. But she couldn't remember why. Years later, another woman disappeared. A young journalist named Jackie. The police searched for months. Nothing was ever found. One evening, Hazel heard a door open somewhere beyond her room. A female voice cried out in fear. Then came footsteps. The sound grew closer. Hazel looked up from her typewriter. For the first time in years, she remembered exactly who she was and exactly what had happened to her. The manuscript trembled in her hands. On the final page, she slowly typed a single sentence. "If you're reading this, don't believe him." The other doctor. Dr. Samuel Hayes was the kind of doctor every patient hoped to have. Brilliant, patient, compassionate. He remembered birthdays, asked about families, and stayed long after his shifts ended if someone needed help. His co-workers often joked that he cared too much. The truth was that Samuel genuinely loved helping people. Saving lives gave his own life meaning. One evening, after a grueling 16-hour shift, Samuel drove home exhausted. The next thing he knew, sunlight was pouring through his bedroom window. He sat upright in bed, confused. He couldn't remember getting home, couldn't remember eating dinner, couldn't remember falling asleep. Several hours of his life had simply vanished. As a doctor, he immediately began searching for explanations. Exhaustion could cause memory problems. Stress could cause lapses in concentration. But this wasn't normal. The only explanation he couldn't rule out was psychological, and that terrified him. If he sought psychiatric evaluation and something serious was discovered, he could lose his medical license. He couldn't let that happen. Too many people depended on him, so he ignored it. At first, the blackouts continued. Days turned into weeks. Sometimes he'd lose minutes, sometimes entire evenings. Gradually, he grew accustomed to it. Then one morning, he found blood on a shirt inside his washing machine. Not his work clothes, a casual shirt he hadn't worn in weeks. His stomach dropped. Something was wrong, very wrong. That evening, he began investigating. He searched his entire home. Everything appeared normal. Nothing was missing. Nothing was damaged. Next, he checked his security cameras. Every blackout period had been erased. Every single one. His hands began shaking. Someone was deleting the footage. But who? The following day, he searched both of his vehicles. His daily commuter car revealed nothing unusual. Then he searched his old pickup truck. Inside the glove compartment, he found a receipt. Private storage rental. Samuel stared at it. He had no memory of renting a storage unit. The receipt was dated 3 years ago. 3 years. How had he not noticed this receipt for that long? He did find it in a little compartment by his steering wheel he never uses, but still 3 whole years. The next morning he called the company. The employee confirmed the account belonged to him. He had rented the property continuously for 3 years. The location was over an hour away, deep in the woods. Samuel immediately drove there. The entire journey felt unreal. His truck's mileage was far higher than it should have been. Thousands of miles unaccounted for. How many trips had he made? And why? The storage facility looked more like an isolated cabin than a traditional unit. No windows, just a steel door hidden among trees. His hands trembled as he entered the access code. The door opened. Samuel wished it hadn't. The walls of the huge storage room were covered in locks of hair, hundreds of them. Beneath them hung newspaper clippings, missing women, dozens of them. Some recent, some years old. His knees nearly buckled. No. At the center of the room sat a desk. Everything was meticulously organized, cleaned and sanitized. Perfectly symmetrical to match the rest of the giant room. Almost obsessive. A leather journal rested on top. Samuel opened it. His blood ran cold. The handwriting was his. Every page described kidnappings, torture, murders, victims, dates, locations, details only the killer could know. Page after page, year after year. 3 years of horror, written in his own hand. Samuel collapsed into the chair. The room began spinning. Then the memories started returning. Flashes, a terrified face, a scream, blood on his hands, a shovel digging through dirt. He vomited beside the desk. For hours he sat there crying. By the time he returned home, his entire world had shattered. He drafted a confession, detailed everything. The storage location, the evidence, the victims. He arranged for every dollar he owned to be transferred to the victims' families. Then he opened his gun safe. The pistol felt heavy in his hands. He sat alone in silence. Tears streamed down his face. "I'm sorry," he whispered. To the victims, to their families, to himself. Samuel placed the barrel against his temple. His finger tightened around the trigger. Then everything went black. When his eyes opened again, the tears were gone. The gun lowered slowly. A smile spread across his face. Not Samuel's smile. A different one. Cold. Amused. He began laughing. A deep, uncontrollable laugh. "Oh, Samuel." He looked down at the confession letter, then tore it into pieces. "You really thought I'd make mistakes after all these years?" He stood and stretched. The reflection in the nearby mirror seemed different somehow. More confident. More alive. "My name isn't Samuel." The smile widened. "It's Jordan." He walked to the fireplace and burned every page of the confession. As the flames consumed the evidence, he chuckled. "I left the blood." A piece of paper disappeared into the fire. "I left the receipt." Another page burned. "I erased the cameras just enough." The last page curled into ash. "I wanted him to find the truth." Gerald stared into the flames. He was getting weak. His reflection grinned back. And now he's finally gone. The next morning, Dr. Samuel Hayes arrived at the hospital right on time. He smiled warmly at patients. He comforted families. He saved lives. No one noticed anything different. No one except the woman sitting alone in the waiting room. When their eyes met, her expression turned to terror because she recognized him. And she was supposed to be dead. Everyone loved Miss Eleanor. She had taught 4th grade for nearly 30 years and was the kind of teacher children remembered long after they grew up. She brought homemade cookies on Fridays. She kept extra school supplies for students whose parents couldn't afford them. She volunteered after school to tutor struggling children. To most of her students, she felt less like a teacher and more like a grandmother. That was why Daniel bothered her so much. Not because he was loud, not because he was disruptive. Daniel rarely spoke at all. The problem was the way he watched people. While other children laughed and talked during free time, Daniel simply stared. Sometimes at other students. Sometimes at the class hamster, Mr. Wiggles. Sometimes at her. His eyes never seemed angry, never seemed happy, just empty, like he was studying something, taking notes. Miss Eleanor often caught other students growing uncomfortable under his gaze. Several complained that Daniel watched them during recess. Others swore they saw him standing outside their houses. Most adults dismissed it as childish imagination. Miss Eleanor wanted to dismiss it too. But then came the presence. A dead spider inside a student's desk. A crushed bird hidden inside a backpack. A collection of beetles arranged neatly inside a lunchbox. Whenever the class erupted into screams and panic, Daniel would sit quietly, a tiny grin appearing for only a second, then disappearing. When confronted, he always denied everything. And somehow, no one could prove otherwise. Miss Eleanor tried to understand him. She noticed bruises on his arms, scratches on his hands. Parents who never attended school functions. Parents who never smiled. Parents who seemed annoyed whenever the school called. She convinced herself his behavior was a cry for help. A troubled child needed compassion, not judgment. At least that's what she told herself. Then Mr. Wiggles disappeared. The class hamster vanished overnight. The cage showed no signs of damage, no open doors, no explanation. The students immediately blamed Daniel. Every afternoon during cool-down time, while everyone else talked and laughed, Daniel would sit silently and watch the hamster. Minutes at a time, without blinking, without moving, just staring. The accusations upset him, or at least they should have. Instead, Daniel smiled. That same tiny smile, the one that never reached his eyes. After Mr. Wiggles disappeared, something changed inside Miss Eleanor. A feeling she couldn't explain. A feeling of being watched. At first, it happened only occasionally. A glimpse of movement outside her classroom window. A shadow near the playground fence. A figure standing across the street from her home. Every time she looked closer, nothing was there. She began sleeping poorly. Began checking locks multiple times before bed. Began keeping curtains closed. Then one evening, she glanced out her kitchen window. Daniel stood across the street, watching her house. His hands folded neatly in front of him, his face expressionless. Miss Eleanor nearly dropped her coffee. She rushed outside. The street was empty. No footprints. No sign he had ever been there. The next morning, Daniel sat quietly at his desk, as if nothing had happened. Weeks later, one of his classmates disappeared. A sweet little girl named Lacey. The entire town searched for her. Flyers covered telephone poles. Parents organized search parties. Police interviewed students. Daniel seemed strangely interested in the investigation. He asked detailed questions. Questions that made Miss Eleanor uneasy. Questions about how long it takes for police to find someone. Questions about search dogs. Questions about whether people can disappear forever. The more she thought about it, the more frightened she became. Then she found him outside her car, standing perfectly still, looking through the driver's side window, just staring. When she called his name, he slowly turned toward her and smiled. That night she couldn't sleep at all. She began wondering if she was imagining things. Maybe she was paranoid. Maybe grief and stress were making her see patterns where none existed. Then Daniel's grades started falling. A few days later, his parents contacted her. Would she consider tutoring him? A strange request for parents like them. Miss Eleanor hesitated. Every instinct told her no. but she had spent her life helping children, and Daniel needed help more than anyone. So on a quiet Saturday afternoon, she drove to his house. The home sat isolated at the end of a long road, large, silent, cold. Daniel's father answered the door. His expression never changed. "He's upstairs," that was all he said. Miss Eleanor removed her shoes and climbed the staircase. The house felt wrong. No family photos, no decorations, no warmth, only silence. She reached Daniel's room and pushed open the door. Inside sat Daniel waiting. The room looked disturbingly familiar. The desk, the chair, the arrangement, everything mirrored her classroom, as though someone had rebuilt it from memory. Then she noticed the walls, covered with drawings. Hundreds of them. Sketches of students, teachers, animals, people. Every drawing showed them being watched. Miss Eleanor's stomach dropped. Many of the pictures were of her, standing in her classroom, walking to her car, inside her home, sleeping. The dates beneath the drawings stretched back months. Daniel's grin widened. "Miss Eleanor," her blood turned cold. "I've been waiting for you." He pointed toward the chair across from him. Something sat in the seat. A small frozen shape slowly thawing. White fur, tiny paws, Mr. Wiggles. Miss Eleanor gasped and backed toward the door. She grabbed the handle, locked. Panic exploded inside her chest. She screamed for help. From downstairs, Daniel's father spoke calmly. "Nobody can hear you." Miss Eleanor turned back. Daniel hadn't moved. He simply watched her, the same way he always had. Studying, learning, waiting. Then he spoke, softly, almost proudly. "Don't worry, Miss Eleanor." The grin widened. "I'm going to teach you now." And for the first time in 30 years of teaching children, Miss Eleanor realized she had never truly known what fear felt like.